Video, we looked at the different journals for our activity here for the month ended September, so September 2022. So we looked at all of the transactions in this CRJ, this CPJ, CJ, DJ, all of those Js. We looked at all of those. What we have to do now is we have to look at the debtors ledgers. So they want us to do debtors ledgers for the two debtors that we started with here on the 1st of September. Okay, so those are your debtors. So remember that in the debtors ledger, we are going to have an account for each one of our debtors. And we will only include in this account the transactions for the specific debtor whom this account has been allocated to. So I'm going to go down here. There we go. So we can see the name there. So there's our first debtor. It's K and that very long surname there. No, there we go. Okay, so I have the one data there, and I'm going to say that this is data number 1. Okay, and then G Sutton as well. So G Sutton data number 2. Okay, so just like with our general ledger, the debtors ledger will also start with a balance. So we are going to say that the day or date then is 2020, September. Okay, so it's the year and the month, and it's on the first day that we saw this balance. And then we are going to say that in the debtors and creditors ledger, we are going to call that our account rendered. If you do say balance, that's fine as well. So it's account rendered, brought down. In other words, the balance that I brought down from the previous month. And then I just have to go to the balances to see it was 3,800. So because it is not a new transaction, I'm not going to enter anything in debit or credit. I'm going to go straight to balance. And I'm going to write there 3,800. Then for G Sutton, we have an 800 Rand opening balance. So we go to his account on September the 1st, 2020. It is our account rendered that was brought down on the first day. There we go. Just want to see, oh, if this thing wants to maybe just focus a little bit better. There we go. Okay, and it's not a new entry, therefore not a new debit, not a new credit. It is just the balance that I'm bringing down from the previous month. Right, so what you then have to do is if they give you all of the journals, you are just going to go to all of the journals and you are going to identify these two debtors within your journals. Okay, so in other words, we did the journals previously. So if I go to the CRJ, there I have G Sutton. Let me just get my highlighter. So there's G Sutton, data number 2. Okay, then I'm going to go to the next one. No debtors in the CPJ. I'm going to move on. In the DJ, there I have data 1 and data 2. And then in the CJ, no debtors there. So then you must see which one is the first transaction that you now highlighted. So in the DJ, you have on the 12th, you have a transaction. The first one in your CRJ is only on the 22nd. So in other words, you must now post whatever happened on the 12th. You must now post that to your debtors ledger. And what happened is that on the 12th, you issued invoice 21 to debtor number 1, and he now owes you 600 Rand. Okay, so where did we get that from? Let's say they don't give you the journals. They only give you the transaction listing. Then you have to go look for the first transaction for a debtor, and it was over here. On the 12th, you issued an invoice because you sold goods on credit. Invoice 21 on the 12th, there's the debtor's name. This is the amount that he now owes you because that was the invoice amount. So that means you need to go to his account and you need to say that on the 12th, You issued invoice, so details gets the source document with the number. So invoice 21. And this was recorded, so folio gets the journal where you recorded this information or transaction, that is DJ. Right. Then, how much does he now owe you for this transaction? He purchased goods of 600 Rand. So this debtor, his account is now increasing, and debtor's accounts increase on the debit side and they decrease on the credit side. Therefore, was it 800 or 6? It was 600. No, not 600, not 800. So 600 on the debit side. Okay, so can you see I'm not adding a plus or a minus or nothing. It's just the amount, because me saying debit is me saying I'm increasing his account. You can either have a debit or a credit per line. You cannot have both, because either this debtor now owes you more or he owes you less. So the balance now is the previous balance plus my new debit. So 4,400. Okay, there we go. Just previous balance plus new debit equals new balance. Okay, right. Then on the same day, we also issued an invoice to G Sutton, invoice number 22, and he now owes us 1,400. So we shall go to his account. I'm going to say on the 12th, this is now details, is source document invoice 22, as recorded in the DJ. So you're telling your story, and the amount that he now owes you more is 1,400. So because he owes you more and he's a debtor, debtors are assets, they increase on the debit side. So debit entry, no credit entry, or you can just have that, doesn't matter, you decide what works for you, but no credit, because I can only either have a debit or a credit. Then my new balance is my previous balance plus my new debit. So previous balance plus new debit, 2,200 if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so yes. Okay, seems right. Okay. Then the next debtors transaction that we have there is that one of our debtors made partial payment and we issued a receipt. Okay, so if we go to our CRJ, there we had it. Receipt 112 to G Sutton for 600 Rand for his debtors account. Okay, so receipt number 112 for G Sutton. So in your details is your source document, receipt 112, as recorded in the CRJ. So that goes into your folio. This happened on the 22nd, as you can see there, the 22nd. Okay, and the amount that we are receiving now is 600 Rand. So if we look at his account, if we increase a debtor on the debit side, it means that we decrease that debtor on the credit side. And if he now made payment, it means that he now owes you less money. So it's your 2,200, your previous balance, minus your current transactions credit. So 1,600 is what he owes you. I just want to double check my calculations. It's late in the afternoon. It is hot. I don't trust myself. Minus 600, 1,600. There we go. And that was it. There were no other transactions there. So you're not going to write anything else. You're just going to draw one line under the amounts per debtor to say that this is now what each one of these debtors owe me after the month of September. We had no other debtors transactions there. And that is a debtors ledger.